So, this is our first recording session. Christian, how do you feel?
Feel pretty good.
My name is Sean. I go by Kensuketi online, and this is my buddy Christian. Say hello, Christian.
My name is Christian. I go by Cadaver Chris online, and I like Power Rangers.
Yes, yes, he does. He really likes Power Rangers. He likes Power Rangers so much that he actually has incorporated it into his sex life. Cannot believe it. Spandex is a
Yeah,
must.
I morph before I put on a condom. It's my sequence.
Do you like walk up to your wife and just go like, "Hey, it's morphin' time," and then you just like fucking plooch?
Exactly. I'm like condom, and then I bust it out.
Form of crane, and then all of a sudden your dick turns into a crane.
God, so fucking weird.
Anyways, sorry to be so crass at the very beginning here, but we're just a couple guys who really like Power Rangers and other stuff like that. We actually grew up on Fox Kids shows and other stuff like that, and we thought, you know what, maybe we could just go around and getting into stuff, about what we call what is it, tokusatsu? Is that it?
Tokusatsu. It
Yeah.
is essentially the Japanese word for special effects, but that is like an umbrella term for like anything giant monsters, people in suits, and practical effects.
That's pretty much it, yeah. So today we're just mainly going to talk about, us growing up with, these tokusatsu shows, what we watched when we were a kid, and then at the end of it, after, introducing ourselves a little bit here, we'll go ahead and talk about what our first show is. Because he's going to watch something and I'm going to watch something, but we're going to save that for the end.
I've actually been watching Turbo today.
Have you really?
Yeah, I got like 15 episodes in, and
Jesus, dude, I'm only like 4 episodes in.
they're right before they're about to uh, recast. So right before the power transfer of power is happening. That's where I'm at.
Oh my God.
I love that
Well,
show.
let's get into it. Christian, what started you off on tokusatsu?
So my earliest memory was Mask Rider. I remember seeing that. It was Mask Rider, Power Rangers Turbo, and then I guess American Toku would be Ninja Turtles Next Mutation.
I don't
Um,
think I ever watched that. I think I always heard about it, but I don't think I ever did.
so it was supposed to be a movie beforehand. Like that was supposed to
Hmm.
be the fourth movie, but then it became a show. Only once it lasted only one season, but it's cool the way they do it. I like the way the costumes look. It's not Jim Henson's costumes, but they look pretty good for
It wasn't like you could see heads inside the teeth or anything like that.
not that bad, but they had an updated design where they're all a little bit more beefier. I think a little bit older in age is what they did for them.
Hmm.
Um, that was just like a weird show, but I really want to rewatch it. And then also Beetleborgs. Beetleborgs was like my thing.
Man, Beetleborgs is absolutely the shit. God, I love Beetleborgs. I mean, especially considering when it came to that fucking theme song. Dude, and then when they do that whole
Yes,
like quote unquote new show or new second season, and all they do is just
they
change
add
one
metallics.
word. Yeah, it's just almost exactly like what they did with Zio, except Zio was actually
Dude,
a lot, cooler.
I just got goosebumps thinking about the Zio theme song too.
Dude, the Zio theme song is the best.
Oh man, yeah, no, the suits I think in Beetleborgs were always going to be like my favorite growing up, like especially the green one, the green Hunter Borg. I have that little figure that you saw during New Year's. That's like I don't know. I always loved green. Like green suits for some reason growing up for me was like really cool. Like the green Zeo Ranger, green Turbo Ranger. I love that stuff. I don't know why that green just looks so perfect.
I completely get it. Green in any kind of like show like that, always seems to be like something that just reeks of coolness. And
Yeah,
use word reek loosely, just like it just oozes is even
it
better because
oozes.
if you think about it,
Yeah,
like fucking turtles, Ivan ooze. Oh, he's purple, but you know what I mean.
I remember like people like my friends growing up. They're like, "Oh, the Red Ranger's the best," or like the White Ranger. I'm like, man, Green Ranger's where it's at, dog.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank, by the way.
I know. Man, I got
Um,
teary eyed the other day thinking about that. I was
yeah.
like, what if they use some like ADR from like an old show or like an old ADR they had for like the new 30th anniversary?
Fuck, man.
And then he says
Like
some
if they
like
do,
inspirational stuff.
I could see them doing that, or like maybe like some of the stuff from his old martial arts videos, because I could definitely see that.
I'm not ready
Damn.
for it.
I fuck you for even bringing that up.
Dude, I was like sitting in my car on my way to work, and then I was like, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, damn, he's gonna say some inspirational thing, and it's gonna get me crying.
Honestly, I am excited for that, special, but I'm also not ready because there's got to be some sort of tribute, and there's gonna be one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Um,
send off.
yeah. So what other stuff did you watch when you were a
A
kid?
lot of Turbo. So I grew up in, well, I lived in New Jersey, so I was snowed in, and it was always Turbo was when I would try to find it.
Hmm.
I don't know what channel it was on, but I remember always trying to find like Power Rangers or like it was usually always Power Rangers Turbo. And
Oh
then it
yeah.
wasn't until I came to Florida I saw Beetleborg stuff at like McDonald's, and like I was always curious on what that was, and it freaked me out the way they looked at the beginning.
Hmm.
But then when I watched the episode, like Flabber for some reason was really cool. I
Flapper
really
was like Ghost Elvis, but like without being like a junkie.
and like Mums, the Mummy always freaked me out too. Um,
Dude, so Mums was cool because he looked like an offshoot brother of oh god, what's his name? Rita's brother.
it's the Sphinx one.
No, is he a
No,
Sphinx?
yeah, he's like a
No.
no.
I'm talking about the
Rito,
skeleton
Rito,
dude. Rito, that's it.
Rito. That's what it is.
How could I not remember Rito?
I was thinking of
uh,
the Sphinx one, who was there for like one episode.
and then yeah, he looked like an offshoot of him a little bit for some reason.
God, he did, didn't
Um,
he?
yeah, he did. And then for some reason the vampire dude looked like straight up Skull. I'm like that's got to be some cross promotion right there.
God, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Those characters were so interesting because there was
They
always
really
that
were.
B plot of them, and it's like, oh, Mum's lost his can of tuna or whatever, some weird thing, and then they end up like finding it intertwined with the Beetleborgs storyline
Hmm.
too. It was always
So
really weird, but yeah, that's what I grew up on. Oh, God, I have so many fond memories of Next Mutation though.
man, I wish I had gotten around to that. Maybe if I had done that, I probably would be more into turtles, but I'm really not. I hate to say that you and I are close, but I can't get into turtles.
They had a really good Shredder costume on it. I won't spoil it in case you watch it, but that costume is really cool.
I'm gonna have to look it up in a little bit. I'm all about spoilers.
Yeah, but how about you? What is your beginning memory of anything?
Man, so the very first thing I ever watched was the original Power Rangers. I actually watched that very first episode, Day of the Dumpster, like I watched the series premiere, and it was always when I was getting ready for school during that time. I was a little kid then, and they would have that like a 6 o'clock morning block on Fox 35 during then, and
Oh, I remember like time frames like that, 6 a.m.
yeah, and they would
God,
I don't remember what it was called, but it was actually really weird because they legit called it the morning block,
like the Fox
and
block.
it was the Fox block, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like the way that they did it is like they had an actual picture of a block that would rotate. It's like today you're going to get Power Rangers, tomorrow Beast Wars, and
Oh, I
then
remember
another
Beast
day
Wars.
reboot, and then another day, the day that I didn't care, GI Joe.
I've never been a
But
GI Joe fan.
me neither. But I grew up with the original Power Rangers. I even went to the Power Rangers stage shows that they had way back when, like when they used to do like Power Rangers Live and
Oh,
fucking
I've seen videos of that. Yeah, those are really cool.
it was awesome because they had like all these, random actors that were not the original actors
Yeah, they
going
said suit
around
suit
and
actors.
exactly. And then like whenever they needed to do the Megazord fight, they would like disappear and then they would bring out this giant screen and it was just, canned footage that you would expect to
God,
see on the TV show,
that would have
but it
been
was
cool to
still
see
really
though.
cool.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with that. I even got to see like all the incarnations of like all the different Ranger stuff that happened back in the day, like which was like the Alien Rangers, and when they ended up doing the movie. When the original movie came out, I actually went on my birthday one year, and this was around the time when it was a lot safer to do these things, but like they actually had it to where when you were a kid, you could go into the movie theater on your birthday and request to start the movie projector. So
Oh,
I was
that's
able to do
cool.
that for Power Rangers.
Man, yeah, you can't do that nowadays. That sucks. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that movie came out. I was a '93 kid, so it wasn't until like '97 I was actually able to really watch it. That movie still holds up, I think, to this day. I
Oh, it
love that
does.
movie.
It holds up all very, very well. However, I do have some choice things to say about it, but we'll get into that much later. But the movie still is very near and dear to my heart. But then I watched every single iteration all the way up to Lost Galaxy, which includes Zeo, which honestly, Zeo is my favorite out of all of them. Like I mentioned before, where we had to talk about the intro. Man,
Yeah.
this goes like, Ozio, dun, 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 dun. And then they just start going into their riff.
Yeah.
Man, that is just so fucking epic.
It is really good. That's such a oh God, I love that. I might listen to that song now.
The
God.
official song, which is like 3 or 4 minutes long, I think, is
Yeah.
really, really good. So then I watched that. I watched Turbo. I think I was on and off with Turbo, but I still watched it all the way up to Space. And then Space, I actually really, really dug because I liked the Astro Megazords. Those are really cool.
Yes.
Um,
I love that.
and then I watched Lost Galaxy, and I finished Lost Galaxy. No, I didn't finish Lost Galaxy. I actually got halfway through to Lost Galaxy, right up to a point where a certain character died, and I said,
Oh,
you know what? Probably not good anymore. And I don't know what that was with me, but I think my tastes have definitely changed since then. I would probably enjoy it now.
yeah, I think I reintroduced like because there's like a lull where I didn't watch anything for a while, like
Mhm.
growing up, and I remember Lost Galaxy was like the last one that came out, and it was Time Force that was currently on, and I was catching up
Yeah.
on Lost Galaxy. Lost Galaxy was really good. That is a really good show, honestly.
It is, and I need to go back to it because like I said, I didn't give it a chance back then, mainly due to the fact that one, I was a teenager, or I was on the cusp of becoming a teenager at that point. I was growing out of, certain things, thinking, oh, maybe it's just too kiddie at this point.
Yeah,
But then I was also thinking, oh, somebody died in a TV show for kids. Yeah, I don't know if I should watch this.
yeah, dude,
Um,
it's real. It's real life.
but I also watched VR Troopers, which only lasted, I think, what was that, like 2 seasons? Was it one season? I don't remember.
Yeah, two
Um,
seasons.
but it wasn't on very long enough, like on actual TV, to where you could actually catch it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you actually try to watch it, it's barely there. So it was just very, very difficult to watch. But few toys here and there, and I think McDonald's even had something from them at one point, if I'm not mistaken. And I got a few things from McDonald's from them.
I don't. I
Um,
never got into VR Troopers. It always looked really cool, but I
it
never.
does.
Yeah, I never found a way to watch it or catch up on it. But growing up, yeah,
Um,
I totally didn't even know that existed.
oh man, you definitely wouldn't, because it's like the unsung hero at that point because they ran out of footage. And then there's Masked Rider, of course.
Real quick,
And Masked Rider was cool.
interesting enough, VR Troopers was supposed to be a JDF show.
That's right, I saw that.
Yeah, he
I was
was
looking
supposed
into
to
that the other
be,
day.
and then they were supposed to bring over somebody from VR Troopers to be the White Ranger. But because people like Tommy so much, they kept him.
I'm kind of glad that they stuck with that
Yeah.
decision.
Oh yeah. Best decision ever made.
Then on top of that, we already talked about Beetleborgs. Beetleborgs was awesome, and then Beetleborgs with Calyx, which was just also really freaking cool. But then there was something that I don't know if you've watched, but I actually watched all the way through to the very end, and I still don't know how I feel about it because I need to rewatch it.
Hmm.
Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog.
So I remember seeing toys of it,
Hmm.
but I never watched it. And then it
It was
wasn't for like a couple years. Like it was like 5 years ago. I like refound that, and I was like, man, this is a show. Probably should have
it,
watched this.
it really is. It's basically like not Gaelic, but more like just a fantasy based, toku show that you would not expect to exist.
No,
And it does. And it's not terrible, but it's not great either, but it's still something.
that show was so weird. Like I've seen clips,
hmm
and it's like it's supposed to be, what is it, Scottish?
I believe so. Yes, I'm looking it up right now. It says set in medieval. No, it says Ireland actually.
Ireland, that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that show was always so like it it didn't look natural. Like there were scenes where it's just like over there, and it just like was like such a bad cut or a bad scene looking. I just didn't like it.
You saying over there just reminded me something completely irrelevant from all this. Did you ever watch Dracula Untold?
No. Oh wait,
It's the one with
maybe.
Luke Evans where he's Dracula.
No, I have not.
Okay, so I'll show you this thing later on if I can find it, but it's really fucking dumb. At one point, he's investigating something as Dracula, and he goes into a cave and he sticks his hand into the floor, and someone goes like, "Sir, what is it?" And then he just turns to the other guy and goes, "The floor," and
Oh
he
my
just holds on to that for a really long pause
god.
before he says something else. Just the way you said that reminded me of that. I don't
Oh
know
my
why.
god.
It's so dumb.
That sums up that
Um,
show then.
it's bad. It's really, really bad. But the final show I want to talk about before we go into like what we're gonna get into, the show that I grew up the most on, and if I can ever get my hands on like an official copy of it, because I did buy the original Japanese version, Gridman the Hyper Agent, not too long ago. The
Yeah.
show I grew up on was Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
I
So
remember you didn't you finish that show not too long ago?
uh, no, I because there was the anime that came out, which was SSSS Gridman,
Yeah.
which basically, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, same fucking
Yeah,
thing.
same thing.
But this show basically kickstarted Matthew LeBlanc's career. I mean, not Matthew LeBlanc, Matthew Lawrence's
I was gonna say,
career
yeah.
before he went into fucking Boy Meets World.
That is true,
um,
yeah, isn't it?
yeah, and Tim Curry was the voice of the main bad guy.
Tim Curry was in it?
Tim Curry.
That's so weird. I have to watch this
Yeah.
now.
So this entire thing, like everything about it was cool. Like it was basically, you know, these kids who were like in a punk rock band who were fighting viruses in the internet, and as they were doing it, they turned into some dude named Servo who was basically Gridman.
Yeah.
And Gridman is basically an offshoot of Ultraman. That's all you really know. It's just he's Cyber Ultraman.
Cyber
And
Ultraman.
he has like all these different things that can combine together that can form onto him that make him even stronger, which is basically like who can be a better show? Was it this or was it Power Rangers? Because it was basically like internet Megazords versus regular Megazords.
God,
And
that's cool.
honestly, Superhuman Samurai was the coolest thing that was around at the time. And like if you look up something called Drago from Superhuman, dude, Drago was like this giant dragon where once he split apart, not only could he become actual like armor that he could actually put onto Servo, but he could also like become like a giant laser cannon that he could equip. It was badass.
God, I'm gonna have to check this show out now.
You have to, dude. Like, man, we're gonna have to find out if it's available for us.
Yeah, definitely.
That brings us to our next segment here. So, what is this show about? First, we need to talk about what our name is. Do you remember what our name is? I do, but I just want to remember if you do.
Toku for two, right?
Yes, sir.
All
So
right.
the reason why we're doing it is because think of it almost like a little. Think of it like a little coffee date between the two of us. Coffee for two, but
And have
Toku for two.
tea and crumpets.
Tea and crumpets, sir. Can I have more? No, fuck you. Anyways, we're gonna have some more Toku. Toku for Two is basically just gonna be about us talking about, different shows that we're gonna be watching. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like two or three at a time for each show that you and I decide to watch.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay. Now, how are we going to do this? Like, are we going to do like if they happen to have like an American version and a Japanese version? are we going to do both of those? Like, are we gonna do one and one, or like, how do you want to do that?
We could do one and one and compare it
Okay.
and see how it looks. You know how the American and the Japanese version hold up to each other. Differences
Yeah,
in
because
fight choreography, if there's any, or stuff like that.
hell yeah, because I'm all down for that. Or because I've never seen any of the original Sentai shows, so I'm really excited to get into those. I cannot wait to actually go into finally watching, the Beetleborg shows again, and then also watching, the Kabuto show or the actual Beetle show that it came from. I've never seen
Yeah,
that before, and the fact that we now have them available to us at our fingertips, dude, I'm legit excited to do this.
yeah. I'm really excited to watch those like Metal Hero, the like Beef Fighter Kabuto, and like because they look so cool. And I remember watching one. It's Gavon. I just watched the first episode not too long ago, and the music for it, that opening, like it's like totally '90s like rock music, almost like really reminiscent to the MMPR original opening theme song.
Really?
It's so
Okay.
cool. I love it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show me that later on, cause yeah, that sounds awesome.
It
I'm
is.
also thinking maybe like doing something like Guyver,
Yes, we should touch on
cause I've
Guyver.
I've never watched Guyver.
The original show is a little rough, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the action is very well done. I was actually trying to watch the remake for it like a month or two ago, but then I don't know why I just stopped. But I would need to continue that.
Well, even so, at least it's something that we have, complete control of, because now we are able to do this.
Yeah.
The question is, what is going to be your first show?
So right now, oh man, I have to really. I might start with. Honestly, I might start with Zoo Ranger, the Zoo Ranger, the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Sentai,
Mm-hmm.
because it's on Tubi, and also Tokuzilla. Shout out. um, but I've always liked the way, like, I watch videos every now and again of Sentai, like when they morph and stuff like that, their henshin,
Mm-hmm.
and I always love the way the Zoo Ranger ones look. And from what I read, apparently, so it's called the buckler in Japanese. It's supposed to resemble something hatching out of an egg.
Interesting. So
Like
like that's how they actually do their morphing?
it's the same thing, same exact morpher like in MMPR, but they make it to it's the same thing. But I guess what it is, it's supposed to resemble like a dinosaur hatching out of an egg.
Okay. I could see that. That's
Um,
definitely different than what we got, which is, hey, we need a morph.
yeah, like they're like Dino Buckler, and then it just open. You know how it opens up a little bit, the
Oh
morpher.
shit. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to reminisce, is just like something popping from an egg, which is really cool. But I might start with that.
Okay, cool.
I do have to finish one Kamen Rider show I'm on now, but like halfway through it.
True. And besides, you're just gonna end up rewatching that Kamen Rider show for this anyway.
Oh hell yeah, I would rewatch this show because it's very good right now.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching that with you. The show that I'm going to pick on my end, since I ended up buying a whole bunch of these on Blu-ray, I ended up picking Ultra Q. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that.
Ultra Cubies. So I realized something with Shin Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of Shin Ultraman. Well, I didn't notice it, but I read it. Was that it's supposed to be like Ultra Q. It's like the events of the first episodes of Ultra Q in that beginning
Really
part of Shin Ultraman. Like
interesting. I didn't know that.
that Godzilla one. It's the first kaiju they show in Shin Godzilla. Is I think it's the first kaiju that they show in Ultra Q, or it's
Okay.
a kaiju. But I read that. I forget where I read that. But then I went back and looked at it for myself. I'm like, yeah, it's they use the same monster. They just update them for Shin Ultraman.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember. I only watched that movie about like a month ago. Was it the one that was like constantly rolling around? Was it that one?
Mm-mm. It's like the first shot of that movie.
Okay. Oh, the very beginning when they're talking about kaiju.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I was thinking about when Ultraman actually came out.
No. But yeah, though that's what it's supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be. That first like 2 minute opening is supposed to be like the events of Ultra Q. Man, I really would just want to rewatch all this stuff. I'm freaking
Yeah, that
hyped.
it's gonna be really cool, man. I'm excited that we're gonna get this taken care of.
Yeah.
Um, Eventually we are going to have some lead-in music to this. I don't know when we're gonna do it, but I'll find a way to try to secure us either some funding or maybe try to get a favor out of somebody to do that for us. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna have someone to do that, and then possibly get a logo taken care of for us as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we could come up with a cool logo.
Hell yeah. Any final things you want to say before we wrap up our intro episode?
I don't Not really. Just stay tuned.
Wow, what a lazy bitch.
I don't know how to end this.
If you want to find us, you can definitely do so on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. My name is Kensuketi. It's Kensuke with a TE, taken from Evangelion.
It's just about to say.
Gotta love that. And then you are, what was yours again?
Cadaver Chris. You could find me on Instagram,
Awesome.
farmersonly.com.
Farmers only. Oh shit. I'm definitely gonna look it up.
Tokuonly.com.
If I can't find it there, I'm gonna fucking make it for you.
Stacy will find me, and she won't be too happy.
I'll I'll post a picture of one of your Gundams. Speaking
You
of
should.
Gundams, you do have one other social page, don't you?
I do. I haven't used it in a while. Cadaverpla, PLA at the end. Um, it's been months since I've posted, but my last ones were Kamen Rider posts. Which, if you're
Yeah,
into Bandai Kamen Rider, Heisei 20 series, or the 20, what is it, the 20, I don't know, the Heisei project, that's what it's called.
yeah,
I
you would
just,
know better than I would because you're the one who's definitely more into Kamen Rider than I've been, especially with the way that you went ham on all those model
God,
kits.
I'm trying to do a quick count on how many I've done right now. One, two,
I mean, I'm sure you
six.
can probably just take a look at them like from where you are.
I've done a lot, yes. I don't think I posted them all on my Instagram, but I would like to pretty soon.
I think when I finally get to the Ultraman set, when we get to the Ultraman episodes, I think at that point I'll probably build my Ultraman kit because it's been sitting there forever. So
Is it
I
from the
might do it
movie
then.
or from the show?
It's from the anime.
Okay. Man, I want
Ooh,
to see how it
we're
comes
gonna have
out.
to watch the anime.
I'll rewatch it because that was very good too.
Hell yeah! Maybe by the time we finally get to there, the final season will be out.
Oh, that's right. A new third season is coming out.
Uh huh.
Damn.
Anyways, this is Sean
This is Chris.
signing off. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Don't forget to jail over your bees and don't wear a C.
Don't do any of that.